Hello lovelies, and welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm so excited that you've come across my channel. Today I've got a really cool video for us, and if you can't tell from my shirt, we are going to be talking about some eyeshadow and some blush that is related to the new movie Wicked for Good. And my husband and I are actually going to go see the movie this afternoon, so I decided that I was going to go ahead and create a fun look to go along with going to see that movie. Today we're going to be talking about a couple of products from r.e.m Beauty, and these are for their Wicked collection. I've got two products. I've got the Cherry Blossom Blush Palette in pink, and I've also got the Ozian Forest Eyeshadow Palette. These are absolutely stunning palettes. They were Christmas gifts to me from my family, so I'm really excited to go ahead and dive into these, share them with you, and I thought today going to the movie would be the perfect time to go ahead and create a tutorial, take some swatches, and share some of my initial thoughts about both of these palettes with you. So come along with me and let's make up the rules. So let's go ahead and start out. We'll take some swatches of both the blush palette and the eyeshadow palette, and then we'll get into the application and the tutorial for today. So I'm going to start out with the blush palette. It is so pretty. It comes in beautiful packaging. It's got a cherry blossom theme to it. It is so lovely. This is what the back of the package looks like, and then we'll just go ahead and take this out of the box and take a look at the actual palette itself. It is really, really pretty. It has such a beautiful, just light pink look to it. The cherry blossoms continue on the package. This is what the back looks like. There are 3 blushes inside. They are perfectly pink, Glimmer in the Sky, and Lovelier. Those are the shade names. There is another blush palette that comes with the Wicked set that's more of a coral theme, but I just like the pink. I thought it would be a little bit more suited to me and what I like, so I did want to go ahead and get that one. But these are the shades. They are so beautiful. I love just the light pink, kind of, there's more of an iridescent shade with this one over here on the side, and then this one in the middle is really pretty. It's got a nice bright hot pink look with a little bit of a swirl in there. So these are absolutely gorgeous shades, and I'm really excited to go ahead and take some swatches, take a look at them, and then we'll also jump into the eyeshadow palette afterward. So as we can see in the swatches, there are these 3 beautiful shades. There is that perfectly pink. It is almost just a light bubblegum kind of pink. It is really beautiful, very perfectly just kind of iridescent and light. The one in the middle, that one was called Glimmer in the Sky. This one is very iridescent. It's got just a little bit of a glow to it, and definitely it's a much richer pink than the other 2. And then that last shade is called Lovelier, and this one is just kind of a nice light iridescent, almost a highlighter shade. So these are really beautiful shades. They are all 3 very pink, very bright, very vibrant, and I'm really excited to see how they apply on the cheeks. They swatch really beautifully, and you can see now that I've already done the swatches, those flower embellishments are still really perfectly captured on the palette still. I think it's going to take a lot of use to really dig into those and to kind of mess up that design. So that's really cool that you can still just kind of have those beautiful little cherry blossom on your blush as you continue to use it. And so I really love these blushes. I'm excited to try them out. But first, let's go ahead and take some swatches of the eyeshadows, and then we'll just get into our full tutorial for today. I really love this eyeshadow palette. It is so cool. Look at this box. It is so iridescent and shiny. It's really cool. This palette is called Ozian Forest. It is mostly based on alphabet, very green, very rich, vibrant colors. It definitely looks like the forest and the woods. So the outer packaging is really cool. We'll go ahead and pop the eyeshadow palette out of the box. And this is what the eyeshadow palette itself looks like. It is so pretty. It's got these beautiful gold butterflies on the outer edges, that beautiful shimmery gold look on the front. This is the back. All of the shade names are printed on the back of the palette. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the colors on the inside. This is such a pretty palette. It is so rich, so deep and vibrant. You definitely can make a lot of different looks with this. Very light or very dark, anywhere in between. And then these shimmers are absolutely stunning. They are so beautiful in the pan. I can't wait to jump into some swatches, so let's go ahead and take a closer look at these eyeshadows. This palette swatched absolutely beautifully. I love all of these colors. They are so beautiful and rich and vibrant and pigmented. Even the lightest shade, it is called Confusifying. It is just a very nice light matte neutral shade, nude shade, but even that one is very deeply pigmented, and then of course all the other shades are even darker and deeper, so they are all very pigmented. The shimmers are so beautiful. The one that shocked me the most was the very first shimmer in the palette. That one was called Festivate. It almost had a little bit of a nude undertone, and it shows up kind of a pinky purple in the palette, but it does have a little bit of nude with just some shimmer on it. So I think that would be a great inner corner highlight or topper shade. It's very light, but some of the other shimmers in this palette, particularly the more silver shade, that one was called Ozian. It is much brighter and more pigmented. It is really, really pretty on the skin. And of course, I really like the two green shimmers in this palette. They are so beautiful, so vibrant. I really liked all of these colors, and the mattes are very rich, very pigmented. They're very soft and buttery to the touch. And so I'm definitely very excited to start using this palette on the eyes, but it swatched beautifully. All of the colors in this color story go together so wonderfully. They match really well, and they really create this Ozian Forest theme, and really you can see the just the thought and the storytelling behind this palette. So I really like the swatches, and I'm really excited to go ahead and dive in. So we're going to go ahead and jump back into the blush palette, apply some blush, and then we'll get into that eyeshadow tutorial. So jumping back into that blush palette, we're going to go ahead and apply some blush on the cheek. I think I'm going to go ahead and start out with Perfectly Pink, and then I'm going to deepen up a little bit with Glimmer in the Sky, and then I'm going to use Lovelier just kind of more as a highlighter shade on the tops of my cheeks. So I'm going in with a Real Techniques buffing brush. I thought this would be just kind of a nice large size. It's kind of got a fluffiness to it, so I thought this would be good. The shape is nice and circular, so it'll fit really nicely into these little pans for the blush. So I'm just going to go ahead and start out with that Perfectly Pink shade and just kind of dip into it with my brush, just picking a little bit of pigment up, and I'm just going to go ahead and kind of tap this on my cheek. So I'm going to use the mirror that's included in the palette and just kind of tap this right here on the apples of my cheeks, and just go ahead and just kind of blend this out just a little bit. It is so pretty. It's very light, and it just gives just a nice, just very light kind of cherry blossom look. It is very pretty. Blends on very nicely. It doesn't take a lot of taps of the brush to pick up the product and to pick some up and be able to apply. It just goes on very seamlessly and just creates just a very nice light pigment. It's definitely not too overpowering, and I think it would be really nice to be able to go ahead and build up just a little bit more with that Glimmer in the Sky shade as well. Very pretty. I'm pulling it up just a little bit into my temples and back towards the back part of my cheek, and just kind of tapping it on with my brush. Now I'm going to go ahead and jump into that Glimmer in the Sky shade and just go ahead and start building up some of this pigment. It's definitely a lot richer on the brush, and just going to create just a more dimensional look. That is really pretty. Those are blending together very beautifully. Of course, you could just stop with that Perfectly Pink shade and just have a very light, just kind of just cherry blossom kissed kind of look. But I like a lot more blush. I want it to be a lot deeper and richer, especially my lipstick is a little bit of more of a deeper pink, so I really wanted my blush to kind of match that. So just kind of picking up a little bit of pigment at a time, patting it in, and just kind of blending those two together. The Glimmer in the Sky shade definitely has a little bit more of that kind of iridescence, as you can see in the palette. It's It's kind of got a little bit more of that highlighter shade kind of blended into it. So you can see as you're applying on the cheek, it's definitely starting to have a little bit more of a glow to it. And just really kind of building up a deeper pigment with the pink, and then also a little bit more of a lightness with that highlighter shade. It is really, really pretty, and those blend together really, really beautifully. It creates a very, very nice pink, rich look. So I'm going to finish blending this out, and then, like I said, I want to use that lovelier shade as a little bit more of a highlighter shade. So I'm just going to go in with my finger and just pick some of this up, and then I'm just going to kind of tap this over the top of my cheekbone and just kind of blend it down a little bit into those other two blush shades, just creating a nice highlighted look on the top. And those blend together really, really beautifully. I absolutely love how that looked. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It creates just a nice, beautiful, kind of light, shimmery pink on your cheeks. It really gives just a little bit of an inner glow. And so I think that's really gorgeous. So I'm going to go ahead and pop some blush on the other side, and we'll take a look in just a second. And here is the blush. I am so happy with how that looked. It is so just light and iridescent and so pretty. So I really, really am happy with just that palette and how it performed. And so I'm really excited to go ahead and jump into our eyeshadow tutorial. While I was off camera, I did go ahead and prime my eyes with my Ulta Beauty Pigment Pop Eye Primer. And so we are ready to go ahead and jump in to these really rich, vibrant pigments. So we're going to go ahead and go into that Ozian Forest Eyeshadow Palette. I'm going to start out with an Ulta Beauty Collection Fluffy Eyeshadow Brush, and I do want to really create an Elphaba inspired look today. I want it to be very much green heavy and very rich, especially because we have such beautiful green shimmers in this palette. So to start out, I'm going to go in with some matte. I'm going to start out with that beautiful green matte right here. This one, I'm going to have to look at the back of the palette to see all the names. This one was called Take Flight, and so I'm just going to go ahead and pick some of this up on my brush, and it definitely has a lot of kickback on the palette, so I'm going to just kind of tap some off of my brush. And you definitely need to be very careful as you're dipping into this palette. The matte pigments are very pretty. They're very well packed in. They're rich and they're buttery, but they definitely have a lot of kickback if you're not careful as you're dipping in. You can kind of see a little bit here. I've got a little bit of kickback right there as well. So just being gentle with it, and then definitely tapping off your brush. So I'm going to go ahead and just start applying this into the outer corner. And just kind of tapping it in, blending it in. It is a very rich, deep green, very much a forest green. It's not very rich and vibrant and light, but it is really, really pretty. It definitely doesn't, it resembles more of the trees than it does of Elphaba and her skin shade, but it is very, very rich and pretty. So I'm definitely going to create a very nice, deep, smoked out eye using this eyeshadow color. So it is really, really pretty. It goes on very easily. It does not take a lot of pigment, and like I said, that kickback in the pan, I've got a lot more pigment kind of coming out of the palette than I needed. So I'm going to definitely be a lot more gentle with the other shades, and just really make sure I get just a little bit, because a little bit definitely goes a long way with these. So that is really, really pretty. Just kind of creating that nice smoky outer corner. Now I'm going to go ahead and continue to deepen up the outer corner. I'm going to go in now with this brown shade right here on the bottom corner. This one is called Kiyomoko. It is a nice, beautiful, just kind of rich brown shade. So just picking up some of my brush and tapping off the excess. And I'm just going to put this more on my eyelid, just kind of deepening up this very outer corner. I definitely don't want to overpower that green. I want it to be very green heavy and pigmented. So I'm going to just apply just a little bit right here on the outer corner. That is so pretty. It is very, very rich and vibrant, and definitely creates a nice, beautiful smoked out look. So now I'm going to go into this shade right above that one, right here on this edge. And this one is called Wickedly Wonderful. It is hard with the shade names being on the back, and the font is very, very small. It's hard to read, so you definitely have to kind of lean in and look closely at it. And again, just kind of building up that really deep outer corner. So just using that same brush and just picking up a little bit of pigment and just tapping it right there on the outer edge of my eyelid. And we can see it's really building up a very nice deep smoky look. So now as we are going across the crease, I want to go ahead and start lightening things up. So I'm going to go ahead and clean off my brush, and then we're going to dip into some of those lighter browns and more nude shades. To go ahead and clean off that brush, now we're going to dip into this shade down here. This one is called the Grimmery. And I'm just going to pick up just a little bit of this. It's one of the darker of the lighter three matte shades in this palette. And I'm just going to put this just kind of along my crease. I'm going to start over here where it's dark, where all my shades are dark, and I'm going to move in towards my inner corner. So that way I've got most of the pigment here in the center of my crease, and then it'll lighten out as it moves towards the inner corner. I don't want a lot of pigment here. I'm going to use some of the lighter shades more towards the inner corner. So just kind of building up a little bit of pigment and just making sure that I blend into that outer corner. So we've got just a little bit more depth there. Now I'm going to dip into this medium shade right here. And this one was called Witching Hour. And again, just picking up just a little bit on my brush, tapping off the excess. And then I'm going to kind of do the same thing. I'm going to move a little closer to the inner corner this time, and just kind of on the edge of that darker shade, and just kind of blending as we go, pulling it into that outer corner just a little bit, just so everything is nice and blended, and we've got just a nice smoky look all the way across. It's very, very pretty. These mattes are blending together very nicely. They're very pigmented, very blendable, so we're definitely starting to see a little bit more of that smoky look. Now we're going to go into the lightest shade in the palette, this one up here, and this one is called Confusifying. And again, just doing the same thing, tapping off the excess, and I'm going to put this right here on kind of this inner third of my crease and just kind of gently blending it in together. And I definitely don't want to lose that richness and that deep pigment, so I am going to go back into that green matte. Again, that one was called Take Flight, and I'm going to pick up just a little bit of that again on my brush and just really make sure I don't lose all of this depth and pigment in the outer corner. So just pulling it right here in my crease into those three lighter shades, just making sure it's blended and I don't have any harsh lines. Everything just goes nicely together, and just kind of swirling my brush around a little bit just to make sure that everything is nice and blended. They're such beautiful shades. You can definitely create some really deep, dramatic, and smoky looks with this palette. So that is really pretty. We've definitely got some really nice rich mattes here. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into some of these really rich, vibrant shimmers. I went ahead and primed my eye with my NYX Glitter Primer, just so that way all of these beautiful shimmers are really going to be able to pack the punch that I want them to and really create a nice, vibrant look. So I'm going to go in with those two green shimmers and really create just a nice kind of ombre effect across my eyelid. So again, that's going to be these two right here. I'm going to use this darker one towards the outer corner, and then this lighter green more towards the inner corner, just to create some lightness. I think I am going to go ahead and just pick these up on my finger and apply them that way. So these two green shades, the lighter one is going to be called Oh Oz, and the darker one is called Embrace Your Inner Green. So those are perfect names. They are so true to the movies and to the show. So definitely I love all of the names of these. So I'm going to pick up some of this lighter green on my index finger, and then some of the darker green on my middle finger, and just really picking up those pigments. But you can see they are absolutely stunning. They are just so gorgeous, and they pack such a beautiful punch. So I'm going to go ahead and start with that darker green and just kind of apply it right here along the edge of all of those matte shades, and just applying directly onto my eyelid, pulling all the way up towards my crease and blending with my finger. They are so beautiful. They have a little bit of kind of a foil effect as you're applying, so they definitely have a lot of richness to them, and you can definitely see really a lot of pigment there. And now I'm going to go into that lighter shade more towards the inner corner. I've got a little bit of glitter fallout, so I'm going to just kind of pat my finger a little bit on a clean cloth just to kind of get rid of that excess, so I don't have it all falling out. And I'm just going to, again, just kind of pat with a little bit of pressure just to apply and make sure everything stays put right where I put it and right where I want it. And just kind of as those two meet, I'm going to kind of go back and forth between my two fingers with the different pigment and just kind of blend them together so that they just are nice and cohesive across the eye. They're really pretty. They're absolutely just gorgeous shimmers, so stunning. And then they're blending together very nicely and really creating a very beautiful rich green look on the eye. I definitely want them to just kind of look cohesive, so I'm just making sure that I blend right where they meet. That is really, really pretty. I absolutely love how that looked. So now we're going to go ahead and start working on the lower lash line and just going ahead and kind of connecting all of these matte shades together. So I'm going to go in with an Ulta Beauty flat liner brush, and I think I'm going to start out with one of the lighter matte shades and then kind of deepen up the outer corner so that we've kind of got more of a dark smoky look on the outer corner, and then it gets lighter on the inside. So I think for my first shade on the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and jump back into this one right here and go ahead and just line that all the way under my eyes. So again, just very gently, just kind of tapping into the pan and then tapping off the excess, just so that way I don't have a lot of kick up in the pan. And then I'm just going to line this all the way underneath my eyelid, right along the waterline, and just creating just a nice light line. And then we're going to build up that pigment and deepen up with some of the darker shades as well. So this is really pretty. It is definitely one of the lighter shades in the palette, but you can really see the pigment there. Even though it is just kind of a nude or neutral shade, it definitely has a lot of color to it. So I really like the shades in this palette, that I feel like all of them have some really good pigment to them. So just really building this up and just kind of extending just a little bit into that outer corner just to make sure everything is connected. So now I'm going to continue to deepen up. I'm going to go into this shade down here on the bottom and do the same thing, just kind of picking up a little bit on my brush, tapping off the excess, and then just kind of lining it all the way under my waterline as well, just kind of right on top of that other shade, just building up some pigment. That is really, really pretty. You can definitely start to see the pigment building up. Next, I'm going to go in with that nice deep brown shade right here. And I'm not going to do this all the way under my waterline. I'm just going to go maybe about halfway just to really start kind of deepening things up. And you can definitely see that's much deeper than those other two shades. So pretty. I'm going to just kind of gently just kind of tap and pull, so that way I can blend in with those other shades and I won't have a stark line on the center of my eye. And then just kind of blending into that outer corner as well. So beautiful. All of these pigments are so rich and so pretty. Next, I'm going to go into this shade again up here on the top. And I'm going to go ahead and just continue the same process, just picking a little bit up, tapping off the excess, and building up the shade in this outer corner and connecting to the outer corner as well, especially as I'm using these deeper, richer shades. I really want everything to connect on the outer corner. And making sure I go all the way up to my waterline so I don't have any kind of gaps or holes. Make sure everything is nice and connected. And just using a little bit of the excess of the darker pigment into this inner corner, just to kind of deepen up and just kind of connect everything a little bit better. And then for the last matte shade down here, I'm going to go back into that beautiful green shade and go ahead and just layer it on that outer corner of my waterline as well, or my lower lash line as well. And just really deepen up, connect the outer corner. Really just build up that pigment. I'm going to pull it just a little bit further towards the inner corner just so it's not too light with so much darkness on the outside. Just very gently just blending it in. I don't want to lose those lighter shades. I definitely want there to be a little more lightness towards the inner corner. That is really, really pretty. I definitely want to add a little bit more shimmer. This is very matte heavy right now, but I'm really, really loving how this is turning out. And so let's go ahead and I'm going to clean off this brush and we'll add some more shimmer. Now that I've cleaned off my brush, I'm going to go back into the shimmers and I'm going to go in with this one down here. This one was called All Roads Lead to the Wizard. And so I'm going to pick up just a little bit of this. I think the gold in this shade is going to go really, really pretty with those little bits of gold that were in that green shade that we use. And so I think it's really going to complement well. And I want to put just a little bit of this along the lower lash line. So I've got a little bit on my brush. I'm going to go in with some setting spray, give it just a quick spritz, and then I'm going to apply this just right here on the lower lash line, kind of towards the inner corner, and just blending into those mattes along the lower lash line. Pick up just a little more product and just kind of blend that in. That is such a pretty shade. I think that goes really pretty with this look. I think it's really nice and just adds a little extra glow to the lower lash line. It is so, so pretty. This look is absolutely stunning. Just those rich pigments, those nice deep matte, and then those beautiful shimmers. And so I'm going to go in with a Real Techniques detailing brush and just go ahead and add our last little bit of color to this look. And I think I am going to go ahead and go in with that nice kind of iridescent sort of purpley shimmer shade. This one was called Festivate. It is a really pretty shimmer. This was one that I did mention earlier as we took the swatches, that it looks sort of purple in the pan, but it had just a slight kind of nude shade undertone to it, which I thought was really cool and unique. Definitely a little bit unexpected for that shade. Again, I'm just picking some up on my brush, giving it a spritz of setting spray, and then just going ahead and popping this right here on the inner corner, just to give it more of a slight iridescent look to it. Honestly, in this palette, this is the only shade that kind of reminds me of Glinda. Everything else is much more kind of Oz and Elphaba leaning, and definitely represents those more. But this one has just a little bit of just kind of that light iridescence that we definitely think about with Glinda and her bubble. So it's very, very pretty. I am going to pop a little bit of this also in my brow bone just to give a nice little highlight here as well, because we do have so many dark mattes on the outer corner. I just want to lighten it up and give just a little extra kind of pop to this look. This is so pretty. That inner corner is perfect. It adds just a little bit of kind of a girliness to this look. It is so, so pretty. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. So I'm going to go ahead and step off camera. I'm going to go ahead and do the other eye, add all of those finishing details, and I'll be back in a minute and we'll take a look at the final look, and I'll share some of my thoughts about both of these palettes with you. And here is the finished look, including both of the eyes and all of the detailing and everything. I think this looks so pretty. I love how just deep and vibrant this look turned out. For my details, I went in and I tightlined on the top with my Ulta Beauty Automatic Eyeliner. This is in the shade Matte Black. And then for the lower waterline, I wanted to really pull on the greens and all of that kind of multi-dimensional shading that is in the green shadows from this palette. And so I went in with my ColourPop BFF Cream Gel Liner. This is a multi-chrome eyeliner in the shade Wild Idea, and went ahead and put that in the waterline, so it's got just a couple of different green shades in there to really tie into the eye look overall. I think it's really pretty and definitely goes along with the Elphaba theming that I had with this eyeshadow tutorial. And then for my mascara, I went in with my Maneater waterproof mascara. So I'm so happy with this look. I think it turned out so pretty between the blush and the eyeshadows. I'm just really excited about this entire collection, or at least the pieces that I have from it, and I just think that it's so beautiful. So let's take a closer look at the final look, and then I'll be back to share some of my initial thoughts about both of these palettes. I think both of these palettes are really pretty. I absolutely love the packaging on both of them. The cherry blossoms on the blush palette are so pretty, and then the blushes inside having the beautiful cherry blossom embellishments on them, and just the beautiful kind of blush and highlighter combo that is in this palette I think is really pretty. I think they did a great job on all of it. The one thing I would say on especially the blush palette is I don't really see a whole lot of tie-in with Wicked. The cherry blossoms seem a little just kind of out of place for the movie. I'm not sure exactly how those tie in, but I think the packaging is pretty. The shade names are very nice and definitely represent Glinda pretty well. With Perfectly Pink, Glimmer in the Sky, and Lovelier, I think the shade names are really nice and definitely capture her character very well. I like just kind of the bubble shape, the circle shapes of each of these. So definitely in that way I do see the movie tie-in, but just kind of overall this definitely looks like more of a general palette to me. But I do think it is a very pretty palette. I'm really happy with how the blush is applied. I think that it's really nice that you can wear all of these individually, but then of course you can layer them on top of each other like I did today, and I think that creates a really pretty iridescent kind of look. So I think that each shade individually is very nice, and then together they create a very just nice kind of dewy, glowy, young, fresh kind of look. And then for the eyeshadow palette, I think this palette is absolutely stunning. I think the butterflies on the edges are so pretty, and definitely I guess you could say that those represent Elphaba, just in that she really kind of goes through a metamorphosis throughout the film and throughout the story, so that may be why they chose butterflies to represent her. And then the color story in here is absolutely stunning. There is not a single shade in here that I don't absolutely love. It is so beautiful, so rich and pigmented. I do remember going to Ulta and going in and swatching each of the shimmers in here, especially these greens and the silver, and just being absolutely blown away by them. And really that was why I wanted this palette, was just getting to see them in person. They are so beautiful. They really can't, I don't think they could be captured very well on camera for just how beautiful they are in person. Of course, they do look beautiful on the camera still. So this is just an absolutely stunning palette. I do love that it is very much focused on Elphaba, since she is the main character of the film and of the story. And so I definitely think really capturing her in all of the green and just kind of that representation of Oz and the wizard that's in here, I think is really cool and really nice. Definitely, like I said, as I was adding this sort of pink purple shimmer shade to the inner corner and to my brow bone, it is definitely the only one in here that really looks like Glinda to me. Everything else is much more Oz and Elphaba leaning, but I definitely think that really goes well with the packaging. I think the packaging very well represents the color story inside, and I think they did a really nice job just creating a nice compact palette. Probably my only complaint about the eyeshadow palette is just having all of the shade names on the back, and they are very small, very hard to read. I don't know if you can even see that. They are very tiny, so it is really definitely hard to tell what all the shade names are looking at that. But other than that, I think that they did a fabulous job with the eyeshadow formula, the color story, and just the packaging overall. So both of these I think are really pretty, definitely worth getting. I personally like the pink more than I would like the coral. I think it better represents Glinda, especially if you are purchasing this because of the Wicked theming. But I definitely really like both of these nice. The quality of the packaging is very nice. They're a nice sturdy plastic. They have a nice clasp as you open and close them, and then the quality of the formula for both the blushes and the eyeshadows are excellent. So I definitely would recommend both of these, especially if you are a fan of Wicked and if you really like Elphaba and Glinda. I think you would really enjoy both of these products. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to hang out with me and to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial using the r.e.m Beauty Wicked Cherry Blossom Blush and Ozian Forest Eyeshadow Palette. I really enjoyed creating this look. I am so happy with how it turned out. I think it is absolutely stunning. I hope you think so too. And I would love to hear from you in the comments below if you've picked up anything from this collection and what your thoughts are about it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more makeup tutorials and reviews, then please subscribe to my channel. I would love to see you here again. Until next time, let's be kind to each other, beautiful to ourselves, and never afraid to make up the rules.